we're going to do division using the area model. So we're going to divide 7,384 divided by 5. Alright, so let's break it up into some boxes. We need 4 boxes to do this one. We want to see how many thousands I can multiply 5 by and get as close to 7,384 evenly, but I cannot go over that. So let's take an example here. Over here we have 5 times 1,000. Okay, that equals 5,000. Alright, now that's below 7,000, so that one's good, but let's see if we can get a little closer. If we take 5 times 2,000, alright, that gives us 10,000. 10,000 is too high. We cannot go over this number of 7,384. Alright, so we're going to use 1,000 up here, because it gets us below the 7,384. Then, so I know that 5 times 1,000 is 5,000, I write that under here. Alright, and then I subtract the 2. When I subtract the 2, I get 2,384. This is an important number. This is what remains. That's what's going to go in the top of the next box. So I'm going to write 2,384 here. Now I need to see how many hundreds I can multiply by 5 and get as close to this number, 2,384, as I can, but I can't go over. Okay? So let's multiply a few out. So if I take, let's say, 400 times 5. 400 times 5 is 2,000. So I'm still under it. But let's check and see what 500 times 5 is. 500 times 5 is 2,500. I'm bigger than this number, so I can't use 500. I have to use 400. It's the closest I can get to this without going over, because the next possible 100 I go up, I go over that amount. So I'm going to write, up here in the top, I'm going to write 400. Okay? And then I'm going to write what 400 times 5 is, and that's going to be my 2,000 down here. I'm going to subtract the difference, and what's left is 384. Now this is what remains. This goes into our next box over here. So we have 384. I have to see how many tens I can multiply 5 by and get as close to 384, but I can't go over 384. Okay? So let's just first say we can take 70. So if I take 70, and that's 70 tens times 5, that's 350. Let's see if I can go bigger. I'm going to take 80 times 5, and that's 400. So 400 is too big, so I can't use 80, but I can use 70. Okay, so I'm going to write 70 here. And I know that 70 times 5 is 350. I'm going to subtract the difference. So when I do that, I'm left with the number 34. 34 is what remains and goes in this box, so I'm going to write 34 here. I'm going to see how many 1s I can multiply by 5 and get as close to 34 and not go over. Okay, so I'm going to take 5 times 6, and I know that that is 30. I'm going to try one more. Let's see what 5 times 7 is. So 5 times 7 is 35. Oh, I can't go over. 35 is bigger than 34, so I have to use 6 here. So I'm going to take this 6 and write it up here. And I know that 6 times 5 is 30. Alright, and when I subtract the two, 34 minus 30 is 4. I don't have another box over here because I can't go past the 1s right now. So this is called a remainder, and we write the remainder as remainder is 4. So how do we finish this problem out? What we want to do is combine all these numbers up here. So I'm going to take 1,000 plus 400 plus 70 plus 6. So I'm going to do that down here. We have 1,000, alright, plus 400 plus 70 plus 6. Alright, so when we add all of these up, we end up getting 1,476, and then we have this remainder over here, and we write that. We can just write remainder with an R and say R equals 4. But there's other ways of writing this, so this is what we have to pay attention to. It kind of depends on what your teacher wants. That's one answer. The other answer we can say is 1,476, and we say that the remainder is going to be 4 out of 5. The 5 comes from what we divided by right here. So we have 4 left out of 5. So this is another solution, another way of writing the same exact thing. Alright, and sometimes if we check ourselves in a calculator, we get a decimal answer. Well, we know that 4 divided by 5 is 0.8, or 0.8. So this is also our remainder, so we could actually write this as a decimal as 1,476.80. Okay, so this is another solution. So there's 3 ways of writing this solution. It kind of depends on what your teacher wants. You can always check yourself with division. We'll try and do that in another video. That's it.